Hello, Ben. My name is Kevin Martin. Hey, it's good to see you in the building. This question is in regards to race relations. Now, I've been fighting a good fight for a little while. 2 years ago, I had a video. I was debating this Black Lives Matter, this white liberal down in Washington, D.C. Some of you might have seen it. It went dumb viral. I mean, Milo shared it. It was all over. But I go to a fairly small school, and the problem that I deal with is that a lot of kids come up to me, professors, they come up to me and they try to debate me. But what happens is after destroying them, debate after debate after debate, you become to a point. Yeah, it's true. It really is. It's true. It really is. It's true. So the problem that I have is that, you debate, the teachers and the administration, you obliterate everybody, and now you're just on this island like, okay, now what do I do? I still got to pass my final, So I guess my question to you is this. What do you do, and which direction do you go when people come up to you, you want to be a voice on campus, you've destroyed everybody, there's literally nothing left, and you're stuck on this island?
At Ashley Home Store, a good night's sleep begins and ends with a great mattress. We're giving away a $300 gift card with every Tempur-Pedic mattress purchase, plus free premium delivery and 60 months financing available, and a 120-day comfort guarantee. Hurry into Ashley Home Store today and get the good night's sleep you deserve. Only at the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in North America, Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Campus, you've destroyed everybody, there's literally nothing left, and you're stuck on this island like, what do I do now? How do you move forward? Thank you.
So, this is a growing problem in my own life. What I like to say to college students is that you have to decide whether a discussion or an argument is actually worth your time. Right? You only have so many breaths on this planet. Is arguing with this lesbian dance theory major about Black Lives Matter really a useful use of your time, right? Or would you be better off legitimately hitting yourself in the face with a baseball bat? What I've suggested is that there are really only a few times when an argument is worth it. One is when there's an audience and you can humiliate the person you're discussing with in front of an audience and thereby destroy their points, which is what I do for a living. The other thing is if somebody's actually honest and they want to know what you have to say, right? There's somebody who actually cares and wants to have a discussion with you, then it may be worthwhile. And the third is if they're serving you food and if you're rude to them, they're going to spit in it. Those are really the only 3 times you ever need to get into a discussion. Of course, I'm not known for being a people person, so getting into discussions for fun is not always my cup of tea. That said, I think that if you're capable of making great arguments, this is why social media is so wonderful, as it sounds like you discovered. You should legitimately, I would suggest to you that you might want to have one of your friends follow you around with a cell phone. If you're going to get in these discussions, you may as well tape them and put them on YouTube. Because these discussions do change a lot of people's minds. People watch this stuff. They really do. You can get millions of people to view an exchange with some girl about transgenderism on a college campus. That exchange that I have with that girl at some college in Michigan has something like 55 million views on Facebook. Right? The reason for that, people are interested in seeing people debunk other people's arguments. So if you're good at it, and if you're interested in doing it, don't do it for free. Go out there and have somebody tape it. Be a capitalist. Go out there, have somebody tape it for you, and then put it online and make a name for yourself, because we need more good people in the fight who are capable of arguing. And final note here, everyone here is capable of being great at debate. Everyone here is capable of being a good defender of your position. More importantly, everyone here is capable, and I'm sure most of you are, everyone here is capable of being a good human being. And the best way to draw people closer to your viewpoint, the best way to teach people that what you believe is true and right, is to be a positive influence on the people around you and the people in your community. You are the examples for everyone else in the country. You should always wear that target proudly on your back, because they will come for you. And when they come for you, the only way those bullets are going to bounce off is if you're made of steel. Thanks so much.
Hi, my name's Caroline. I'm a senior, proud liberal. My question.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yes, of course.
Whenever somebody on the left comes to one of my lectures, it's like an AA meeting. It's like, thank you, Caroline, for coming.
So So my question is, since you believe abortion is the same as murder, do you believe women who get abortions, even when their lives or the child's life isn't in danger, should be put on trial for murder? Yes
No.
or no?
I think abortionists should be put on trial.
But I mean, even
I don't think that women should be put on trial for a couple of different reasons. So the first reason is because I don't think that it is effective in deterring abortion to put women on trial for the killing of the unborn. The second reason is because I think that we in our society have unfortunately gotten to such a point that an entire generation have been indoctrinated to believe, particularly an entire generation of women, since that's what we're talking about here, have been indoctrinated to believe that a baby is a polyp, and so when they remove it, I'm not sure there's the actual mens rea necessary, the actual criminal intent necessary for a prosecution. So when we're talking about, the typical pro-life position here has been that the woman is a victim in abortion nearly as much as the baby is, that there's an entire abortion industry that is geared toward teaching women that babies are not babies, and that getting a baby aborted is in fact a betterment of their life. So no, I'm not in favor of prosecuting women for abortions.
But I mean, there are a lot of women who do have the intent, right? Like if a woman goes to an abortion clinic, they are ordering the murder of their child, in your opinion, like what you would say. So
Well,
do they not
again,
have the mens rea
so I gave you two reasons. One, a public policy one, and one, like, you'd really have to show me the case of a woman who went in there and said, I know this is a baby, cut its brains out. If that's happening, then that is infanticide. I mean, that's like, wouldn't you acknowledge? I mean, if a woman walked in with a baby that was 1 day old and said, here's my baby, kill it, wouldn't you put her on trial? But that's not what we're talking about. In the vast majority of abortions, the truth is, unfortunately, that women don't actually believe they are killing a child. They actually believe they are killing something that is non-human and is the same thing as removing a tumor or something.
So, but are you saying that you don't think abortion is murder then? Because there are
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that I'm saying that the vast majority of women who obtain abortions don't think that abortion is murder, and intent is a fundamental element in any criminal prosecution. I feel horrible for women who have abortions. I think that it's terrible for them. I think it's a lot worse for the baby,
but
obviously.
What's key is that you said a vast majority, right? There are women out there who know that it is a child.
And you make law and public policy based on the vast majority, not on the outlying case.
Yeah, but then you can't make a claim that abortion is the same as murder if you wouldn't treat them the same in public policy or in law.
No, I absolutely can, because there are many types of murder, right? I mean, there's manslaughter.
Yeah.
There's unintentional murder.
I mean, like, what would your standards be?
So the doctor knows. That's why I'm saying the doctor has the mens rea. The doctor has the actual intent to commit a murder, because the doctor full well knows that is a baby in there whose beating heart he or she is stopping.
So indirect manslaughter.
What was that?
So you would put them on trial for indirect manslaughter.
Listen, I would put Kermit Gosnell on trial for first-degree murder. I would put abortionists on trial for either second-degree murder or manslaughter. I mean, this is a crime against humanity that's occurring. And if you believe that, obviously, to be ideologically consistent, you have to say that. And this has been, again, the traditional pro-life position. I'm not aware of any major pro-lifer in America who believes that women should be put on trial for abortion.
Thank you.
Okay, hey Ben, my name's Andrew, and since DACA's been making a huge headlines throughout the whole nation, what do you think should we do now? Should have been repelled? Should they have made it something else better, or should we continue having DACA?
I'm sorry, what was the
DACA.
Oh, DACA. Okay, so first of all, my position on immigration is I'm actually very libertarian on immigration, except for two factors. One is government payments that go to illegal immigrants, and the second is the cultural assimilation issue for people who come across the border illegally and aren't willing to assimilate into traditional American culture. Right, so these are two serious concerns. I'm not as concerned with the economics of illegal immigration in the sense that people who say we have to restrict our labor force in order to maintain a certain wage base, I don't think that's correct, because this is why you see companies that actually offshore and outsource, because they're looking for cheaper labor. It's always bewildering to me when conservatives say, well, we have to maintain a wage base by restricting the labor supply. Then why aren't you for raising the minimum wage? That does exactly the same thing. It restricts the labor supply and raises the wage base. So as far as DACA goes, my view on DACA is that people who are here illegally, whether they were born here or whether they were brought here as small children or not, should be assessed on a one-by-one judgment. So I am not in favor of the blanket swath amnesty for millions of people based on how long they've been here. I'm in favor of looking at people one-on-one and saying, okay, this person's in college and looks like they're going to have a career and hasn't been taking welfare dollars. This person looks like they're a good American, or they want to be a good American. Put them in the back of the line on a pathway to legalization. But if you're here, you've taken welfare dollars, you're not going to school, you're not bettering yourself, you're not going to be a productive part of American society, you haven't imbibed basic American cultural hallmarks, you do that, you should go. I have the exact same standard for people who are currently here illegally as the people who want to enter legally. I have the same exact standard, except if you're here illegally, you go to the back of the line, you wait behind the people who came here legally.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for answering the question. Special shout out to my friend Corey.
Hi, Ben.
Howdy.
Howdy. My question, it's a little bit hard to articulate for me, so please just bear for like a minute. I wanted to ask you about the recent politically polarizing tendencies of the media and a way out. So I identify two problems in particular. It seems the American news media has evolved to I guess, promote sensationalism and intolerance toward other political views. I feel that this leads to a dangerous tendency for people to just choose their own media outlets in order to confirm their own biases. I hope you agree that this occurs with respect to all political affiliations. A little bit closer, maybe. Thanks. The other problem deals with fake news. Obviously, a term that's become like super nebulous. It's thrown around a great deal. But specifically with fake news, there are a lot of news websites of dubious quality, and we hear stories how other countries or companies have used Facebook advertisements, for example, to promote to promote certain websites and sway easily impressionable opinions. So it's clear that Americans need, I guess everybody needs a basic access of reliable information. We need to have a reliable news media that informs the public. But it seems by default, Americans will seek out information that they find palatable, but this leads to me to believe that it should be the burden of the news media to be reliable and not, I guess, vitriolic. So like in the past, we've had something I think was called the Fairness Doctrine that was repealed like a few decades ago that required outlets to present like, certain views. But obviously government regulation towards media and information, that's a slippery slope. What's the way out? What do you think the way out is? I think
the way out is a more informed population, unfortunately, right? I think that the idea that the government should never be regulating speech or access to it. And once the government does that, then you're wandering into very dicey, quasi-fascistic territory. When it comes to consumers of media, look, the media are just going to provide you what you want to read. Okay, the media are going to provide you what you want to click on. And yes, I would say this, I think most of the people in the media, yes, even including the left-leaning media, do want to tell the truth. I think a lot of them don't recognize their own biases. You know, look, I'm conservative. That means the way that I cover the news is going to be from a conservative angle. I try to separate myself enough to say, okay, here's the facts and then here's my opinion. But everything that I say is coming from that point of view. I think one of the big problems in media is people don't do that, right? Like George Stephanopoulos tries to pretend he's an objective news source. Right? That doesn't mean everything he says is false, but it does mean that everything he says is coming from the former campaign spokesperson for Bill Clinton. And that should have an impact. So that means it's up to us to look at a variety of news sources. I recommend this all the time, right? Don't just listen to my podcast, go listen to Pod Save America. Don't just read Daily Wire, go over and check out Huffington Post. Make sure that you're reading a variety of news sources. If you actually want to tell what the facts are, the best way to do it is to read two opposing websites or two opposing outlets, and think of them as lines that intersect at one point, and the point at which they intersect is the factual point. And whatever those two stories have in common, you can take that as probably the grain of truth in the story.
Am I allowed a brief follow-up? Okay. So I guess I understand your emphasis on self-reliance, but evidently, to the extent that you believe that one believes in the efficiency of free markets, evidently people tend to move to confirm their own biases, and that's not occurring.
Well, I think that's why, the founders relied on the idea that we were going to have a civically educated public. In the end, you're going to have to trust the people one way or another. I don't trust the government to regulate what the people see. I trust the government less to regulate what the people see than I do the people to educate themselves. And this one falls under the heading of, as Winston Churchill said, democracy is the worst system except for all the others. Right? Unfortunately, there's no way out of this box. People are going to have to inform themselves better. And yes, of course, people have a tendency toward confirmation bias. But that's why it's your job, if you know about confirmation bias, to suggest to people that maybe they should stop relying so much on their own confirmation bias.
Okay, thanks, Ben.
Thanks.